We're back now with our panel of young beef producers, and one of the reasons we have you three on the show is you're not only doing a wonderful job building your own operations, but you're committed to being involved in the industry. And I guess the first question I would ask for you, or ask of you, is simply tell us a little bit about the impact you've had on the industry at large or your local community as a beef producer. Quentin?
Well, impact is just getting involved. It's easy to sit at home. We're busy. We've all got kids, very busy with those, but you've got to get involved in what you're doing. I wouldn't say I've had a major impact in the industry. I can't speak to that, but I'm involved, not only on the industry side, but in the community. Get involved in your community. You know, we see a lot of things today where it's easy to stay at home, but go get involved in the things going on in town. Be a person of that community. I would say that's extremely important. As you're a young person, going back, finding what you're going to be doing, get involved, push yourself to be involved.
That's good. Stephanie?
Yeah, I think it's really important to be involved in industry, but it's also important to look at other avenues that you can be involved. And so myself, for example, I've participated in programs that aren't necessarily agricultural based, that are leadership programs, so that I can communicate with those more, less rural people that don't have the rancher friends to talk to. I think we get so tunnel vision talking to peers that are like-minded, and so I try to seek out opportunities for me to bring agriculture to the city and talk about those issues that we have and bring some light to that. COVID was a great example, seeing all of the negative impacts of recreation on public lands. This was largely something that my friends in the city had no idea what was actually going on our operations. And so being able to shed light on that and bring it full circle, and we're all on the same team, was helpful for the industry, and I thought was impactful.
Jack, what would you say?
Well, I certainly agree with what Quentin and Stephanie said. That's also important to us, both involvement in trade associations and organizations, but also in our community. We try to be supportive in multiple ways, whether that's through having people on the school board or our water board, or involvement in volunteer fire department, or supporting those organizations, especially in a very rural community where there really aren't a lot of us. It's important to work together to try to help everybody.
That's great. And let me come back to you and ask the next question, which is about organizational involvement. I know each of you have been actively involved in formal organizations, including NCBA and your participation in YCC. Tell us why you think that's so important.
Well, there are a lot of benefits. One, the opportunity to learn from others and learn from experts in the industry, but also the relationships that you can create. Can't speak highly enough about the Young Cattlemen's, the YCC program that we all went through together last year. The friendships that we have made, the connections, the ability to pick up a phone and call somebody anywhere in the country practically to get advice or to ask for help or just to have a talk and see what comes up. It's really valuable, whether it's NCBA or I'm now involved, or I'm also involved in Texas Cattle Feeders Association, TCFA, and that getting to learn from and meet some of the other folks that are involved in that is really inspiring to see what's happening in the industry.
That's outstanding. Stephanie?
Yeah, I think making sure you can show up and have your voice heard. I think a lot of us kind of get stuck, well, I'm not that important, I'm just off this little ranch, but these organizations are membership driven and they're advocating for your interests. So if you're not showing up and advocating for what's really important to you and your family, you're doing it a disservice. And so I think that it's really important to maintain those relationships. And then the byproduct of that is all of those relationships that you build with fellow producers and the opportunities that come from that, like YCC or any of those other leadership opportunities that really help the industry as a whole become a better community.
Quentin, tell us about some of the organizations you've been involved in and why it's so important to get engaged.
Sure. So I started my involvement in organizations at the county level with our local affiliate organization, and have worked through that into the state level, and now starting to dip my feet into on the national level. And I couldn't agree more with what Stephanie said. These organizations and getting involved, you have a place to hear your voice be heard, be part of the greater voice. I've sat in so many meetings and seen somebody come in with thoughts and concerns, and it's amazing where that transgresses and how that moves forward, whether it's a bill getting thrown into legislature or something from a problem that started at your ranch in this county somewhere, and where it goes. Like Stephanie said, it is producer driven, and that's where it happens. So do not be afraid to step up and get involved, because that's how change happens. And what's that quote? Change only happens by those who show up.
That's
so
right.
if there's something you don't like, get involved, because this is what is directing the industry.
That's good. And let's pick up on that thought. Stephanie, I'm curious. You are all of the age, and I think Quentin mentioned it before, you're very busy. Young people, young families, trying to build a business. What would you tell other young people your age who may be hesitant and say, that's for later in my career. I don't really have time, or I don't want to get involved now. I don't have anything to add. I'll wait till I'm 50 or 60 years old and get involved. What do you say to those folks?
I would say that you don't have time to wait. It's really important to get involved now, and it can be starting small. Okay. I started at the county level at just attending meetings, and I've worked my way up to our state affiliate, and I'm now on the executive committee for Arizona cattle growers. And so taking the time to show up and let your voice be heard, leadership's not something that somebody's going to ask you to do. It's something that you show up to do.
Take the initiative.
And take that initiative and share what needs to be shared.
Jack, what would you say to that young person?
Well, I would say, to build on what Stephanie said, find something that's fit for purpose, but also remember, like we've talked about, there's never a good time to leave our operations. There is always something going on back at home. Yeah. But I've never come to a meeting or gone to an event or a program and then regretted that I was there and what I missed, because of the value that you get out of these organizations and attending meetings.
Yeah, it's great guidance. Quentin?
I would agree again with Stephanie. Get in when you're young. Get started right now, before maybe you have kids or before the kids get real busy, because then you're in and you're involved. Like she said, if you wait, you're too late. By the time you wait, the industry's moved, the changes have happened. Get in now, get involved, and it's all what you make of it.
What a great challenge for anybody of any age. Thank you all for that.